Welcome to the Farrell Sports Business podcast, where I interview leaders of the sports industry about entrepreneurship, leadership, recruiting, education, and we really get into the jobs that people have and some unique jobs that people have within the world of sports. I'm the host, Matt Farrell. This week's episode is A, just fun, and B, extremely important, as we're going to hit two topics. And the head of an agency that does talent search and recruiting and really building large-scale teams. One, we're going to talk about how to get a gig working for the Super Bowl experience in New Orleans. So go to the Super Bowl and get paid for it is topic one. And then we change gears a little bit and really talk about, at a higher level, diversity in hiring, especially in the sports business, and what's going on in D&I type recruiting and talent search today in the sports world. This week's guest has just an incredible background. The current CEO of the Adinek Group, former MGM, former Accenture Consulting, high-level position with PNC Bank, and now her Adinek Group agency specializes in recruiting, especially for large-scale events and even diversity recruiting. Incredible guest this week, Kenida Lewis. Kenida, I'm so happy you joined.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Matt.
I'm really excited about this conversation. We've got so many cool things to hit, but let's give people a little bit of a background on Adinek Group in particular, and maybe a little bit of your background, just so we know who we're talking to today.
Yeah, I'm not going to bore you too much with the corporate stuff because I've transitioned from there, and you can kind of check out my LinkedIn and all those things. But I had a illustrious, if you will, corporate career, and probably I would say 85% of that was in talent acquisition and recruiting. I transitioned actually living across country, took a job, and just like everyone else, got impacted by the pandemic and started consulting. And from there, birthed the Adinek Group. I've been recruiting pretty much my entire career. This is what I know. So this is what I felt like I can offer to clients to give them the most value. I consider myself, if anyone has seen the movie called Divergent, a divergent. And that means that, I like a lot of different things. And in corporate, a lot of times they hire you for one thing and they want you to do that well. Nothing is wrong with that. That's what they need. I just felt like I can offer clients a lot more when it came to talent acquisition and being creative and finding the right people. I have a love for sports. And so the Adonit Group does a couple different things. So we have three different verticals. One is event staffing in sports, entertainment, and conventions and conferences. So we'll talk a lot about that today on the sports side. And then the other area is talent acquisition consulting, where I go in and talk to leaders if things are broken and they need it to be fixed, or if they're a small to medium-sized company, they can just outsource that function to me and we'll handle it for them as a partner. And then the other area is where we just do professional search. So if someone is looking for an accountant, or if they're head brand sports marketing, they will come to us and we can do a search and find them the best possible talent for the role. So we're excited to be here. We're excited about the work that we do. And our mission is people purpose placement. And we really try to place people with and for a purpose.
Well, I always, and it's always interesting to see how people got to consultant life. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. I came into it later in life for some life reasons. But your background to get there, I don't think people wake up one day at 21 years old and say, I want to be a consultant. Your background of MGM and Accenture and PNC Bank is impressive. So what were as a little bit of the path that led you to what you're doing now?
Well, I think, and that's a very good question, but I think what happened is that I always found myself in a position where I was kind of directing traffic. to be quite honest. And that's really what consulting is. You become a trusted advisor. And the reason why you become a trusted advisor is because you have an area that you do very well in or that you know very well. And so people seek you out and they ask your opinion or your thoughts and how you would handle things prior to them moving forward or making any decisions. And in each one of my roles, such as P&C, it was very much advising individuals or leaders on what is the best makeup of a team. What characteristics should we be looking for? We have this type of role, but what is the ideal superstar that we need to be in this seat? How do we define that? How do we screen for it? How do we recruit for it? And then most importantly, once we identify it, how do we attract it and retain it? So in each one of the roles as I move forward, it was always in an advisory type of capacity, and then the action came behind that. Another example is at Accenture. If you know anything about that organization, that's all they do is consulting, really. I mean, they sell air. And, part of that air in that space is, people's subject matter expertise. They don't necessarily have a product. The product is people and the subject matter expertise that they bring. So I was fortunate enough to be there and learn from the best. Accenture is a very large organization. They have over 400,000 employees, and people all around the globe and companies come to them and say, how do I make this better? How do I make this work? Or it's broken. So I was able to learn from the best. And so I just took a leap after my transition from MGM to say, you know what, I think I can do this. I had a great mentor. I still confer with her today. And she's, amazing at consulting and letting me know, or anyone, what you need to do to make an impact. So I think it's been successful. We're branching off into staffing now. And even though we're staffing in sports, it's still consulting. So that was pretty much my path. And I think we're still on the right road today. And, we have a lot of clients that we continue to make an impact with.
Well, you provided the perfect segue because this is obviously my professional career has been sports. This is a sports business podcast. And it turns out you've got a pretty high profile client and project on the front burner.
Yeah, and on the back burner as well, too. So it happened in February of 2024, and we're already working on February of 2025. I would say I talked about mentorship, and I know that Matt, you're not a mentor to me at this point, but I would venture to say you probably have a lot more knowledge about sports than I do. I have a love of sports. And I watch it so that I can learn. I watch it for entertainment. It's also a stress reliever. My whole family loves sports. I think that's the only reason why I have cable is so that I can watch the games. That's the only thing that shows up on my TV other than the Hallmark Channel of sports. I get my news on TikTok, as we talked about. So, yes, I decided to take that leap and kind of pivot with my business and got an opportunity to be able to work as a supplier to the NFL. And so in 2024, we were able to get a contract, actually a couple, working with events that are supported in around the Super Bowl. We're not working directly with the game. However, we are staffing for official NFL events that take place the week leading up to the Super Bowl. And fortunate for us, we were able to gain a contract again this year, and we're continuing to look to expand in other sports. So pretty exciting.
So in specifically, like it's a lot of it is maybe the hub of it is the NFL experience, and you started doing this for the Super Bowl in New Orleans, or excuse me, the other way around, Las Vegas, where you're based last year, and now New Orleans for the 2025 Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, we started in Las Vegas, and it is for a specific event, which is the Super Bowl experience. In 2024, it was actually hosted by Toyota. So they don't have a sponsor yet, but when they do, we definitely will recognize them. But it is the Super Bowl experience. that we will be staffing for. And then again, the same event in New Orleans. So we're pretty excited about that. We have a lot of people to find in a short period of time. We have a lot of people, fortunate for us, that are really excited about this event. So we're very happy to be able to sit down with them and tell them about the ins and outs of the position, a little bit about the industry, and then also, most importantly, to help them to achieve their goals by participating in this event.
So, maybe just a little bit of the scope, and I'm not trying to ask anything confidential, but how many people are you looking for? What type of people or type of roles? You're probably going to get a lot of people raising their hand for this one.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So, full disclaimer, there's not a lot of confidentiality around it at this point in time. You can actually go to my website, which is the adonetgroup.com, and there is the position that is posted out on the website, so you can learn all about it. We also hosted an information session and opened it up to anyone that wanted to listen. We publicized it on all LinkedIn channels. I'm sorry, all social media channels, I will say that. And then we also, there's this platform called Handshake, where it reaches thousands and thousands of students, college students. So when they're looking for internships or any types of jobs, is very popular. So the university has to approve you to be able to be on that platform. And we're fortunate that most universities, such as, LSU and Tulane and, other universities near New Orleans, approved us to be on the platform, as well as in other areas. UNLV, we work with them quite a bit. We have an awesome relationship. So we posted it there. But it is called a Super Bowl Experience Teammate. And it's a fan-facing role. It's for the Super Bowl experience, and it tracks thousands of thousands. I think one of the peak days that we had in Las Vegas was a Thursday or a Friday. We probably had about 30 to 35,000 people come through just that day. So this event usually takes place near where the official game is going to be. So it is separate from wherever the stadium is. So it's usually a huge convention center. It was at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and it will be at the Ernest Convention Center in New Orleans. So because it's so large, they block off or have, a huge section. And it's almost like this indoor entertainment amusement park. It's filled with activations from huge corporations, from Lowe's. Toyota was the presenting sponsor in Las Vegas. There's Snickers, there's Home Depot. There's just tons and tons of organizations. And the teammates are responsible for working these activations and making sure, one, that the fans are safe, one, that the fans know all the events have to offer, and then one, most importantly, that they're having fun. So they're supposed to bring enthusiasm, their best customer service, A game, and then also, obviously being very timely and being very focused and dedicated and upbeat throughout the event. So even though it is not part of the actual game, there's still a lot of things that's going on at the convention center and at this event. I ran into Deion Sanders and while I was in Las Vegas. I'm so busy that I just saw him because the media is there. It's so many other things that are going on. There's the official media stations that are there for the game as well prior to the game. So we're really looking for people. One, you have to stay in long periods of time, because I liken it to, like, if you go to a Great America, any large amusement park, and you go to a ride and you see the attendant there, and they're there, egging you on and making sure you're safe and making sure you're buckled in and you're following instruction. That's the exact same premise of the Super Bowl experience. The fun thing about it, though, is that you get free gear. You get free Super Bowl gear. You get a shirt. We have buttons. We have pins. You get lunch. You get paid parking. They have celebrities that come through. Cam Newton was there. 21 Savage for the celebrity football game. There are other people there too, but usually I'm so busy working, I can't really see everything that's going on. They have football players that come in and they do autograph signing. So some of the teammates could actually be working that part, and they'll, be neck and neck and elbow to elbow with some of the players. A lot of the players are not, actually in the game because, they're off and they're very focused. But there are other players that are still in the NFL today that participate and support this event. So we look for everyone, all ages, all backgrounds, all geographies. But we just want to make sure that they bring the enthusiasm and they're okay with running around and making sure people are having a good time.
Oh, it's a great role and great experience and great resume builder. You mentioned, I'll just, use Home Depot as that example, is everything that goes into a position like that's people's interaction and perception of Home Depot at that. So these young men and women, they represent who these brands are. And so, that's important from who applies and from a character and personality and charisma standpoint. But that is also really reinforces the importance of what you do, Kenida, and just in terms of selecting these people and making sure that they're going to be great brand ambassadors.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And the way that we go about that, which is the way we do most things, we are very proud of how we screen candidates and how we screen applicants, I should say that. We have some clients that are outside of sports, outside of the staffing area that bring us on just to screen their pipeline of individuals. We've earned that reputation. So there could be 100 people that have applied, and that's a very real reality today. I think we were chatting a little bit about the state of the market or the business as it relates to jobs. And some people say, the market is not that great. It is. However, you definitely have to fine tune your approach. It's definitely not business as usual. So just as many jobs that there are, just as many people that are looking. So you definitely have to be a lot more strategic in your approach. And I'm sure that we'll get to that. But now when you post a job, within, I would say I'm seeing trends are within no more than 4 to 5 days, there are over 100 applicants for that role. And so how do you stand out from that? And so a lot of times if you don't get a call or you get a rejection notice, a lot of times it has nothing to do with the qualifications that you have for the job. What it is that there's so many applicants in there and recruiters only have so much time. So when they're looking at the applicant tracking system and all the people that are applied, they start from the top up. And the top up is the people that have applied, not first, but most recent. So if they're stopping at the top up, that's exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
So you'll get some, the dates are on there. So you'll get some recruiters that said, okay, they applied 2 weeks ago, they were first, let me go look at that. But the natural inclination is when you go into a system and you see a list, where do you start? At the top. And so those are the people that may have applied 24 hours ago, as opposed to those that applied when the position was just posted. So if you're looking at
Interesting.
That top down, most recruiters, they only have so much time. The average workload of a recruiter nowadays in corporate, I'll say this, I'm not talking about agency or that type of thing. They'll have about 17 to 25 requisitions is what they'll get. Some organizations, they have a lot more. It just depends. But if they're filling on average anywhere from about 1,500 to 2,500 positions per year, that's typically how they manage the rec load in a talent acquisition group. So if you break that up by, I don't know, say they have 10 recruiters, it's a lot that they're managing, okay? And they could have a bigger team than that. I'm just using this in hypothetical. However, that stat that I gave you about 17 to 25, that is accurate. So what they look at is they'll go through the first 10 people or maybe the first 20. And remember, we're talking about 100 applicants or more. They'll probably find a good 3 to 4 people that really meet the requirements, and they'll send those on. And what happens is they're like, okay, we have activity. Let's go to the next requisition. So you probably have another 75 people in there that haven't been touched. So if any of those 5 to 10 people that they've sent, the hiring manager will say, yep, they look good. Let's set them up. If they find that person in there, all those other people get dispositioned and they get rejected for the role. So they'll bring us on, circling back to your point, to go through and we provide a white glove service to some of these organizations so that all of those 100 people get touched. And then we'll also look, just because you applied and you didn't get that role, we'll go and we'll look in the organization and we may find other roles that you qualify for and we'll push them to the recruiter. So we really try to save the recruiter's time and increase efficiency and give candidates a white glove service. And then it also strengthens the brand for that particular employer, because how many candidates do you hear from our applicants who say, I never heard anything, I never hear anything?
Oh,
It goes
ghosting.
Exactly. So this is kind of, we don't have to go through that whole process on our own end when it comes to some of the people that have applied for the teammate position. But we do take the time to reach out to each one of them. And we do a 15 to 20-minute screen with them. And we strongly prefer that it is video. Because what we're looking for, we're looking at how you're presenting yourself. We're looking for how much you're prepared, the environment that surrounds you, to make sure that it's not, it just means that you've taken the time to sit down and have a meaningful conversation with us. We want to kind of see your body language, your enthusiasm, because this is exactly what you talked about. These are what the experience of the fans will associate with that brand. So we want to make sure that you're able to exude that. We also want to make sure that you can see us. We're real people. You know, this is not a chatbot. We're here to really work with you. The Adinek Group is not really looking to get so big that we can't have meaningful conversations with all of our applicants. That is kind of the people, purpose, placement mission that we're still trying to accomplish. So with the teammate position, what you can expect from us when you apply, we'll email you. It will have a link in there so that you can schedule time at your convenience for a video interview. We'll be on there in a timely manner. It's through Teams. We'll sit down and we'll have a quick conversation with you. It's usually no more than 15 minutes. We want to learn more about you, have some interaction, and then we want to definitely welcome you to the team. And it's usually what we ask is about your background. We've met some incredible people, specifically from LSU. I'm learning that they have an amazing program in sports. A lot of those students have come. They said the best place that we felt to get experience is in the SEC, and this school has that. They are majoring in sports management. A lot of them are going on to get master's degrees in sports administration or sports management. They're already working. Some of them are working for the Saints. They've worked other Super Bowls before. They're leading events at their school. They're on the athletics team. So this is amazing. They already know what they're ready to do. And they said, this is the best resume builder. And the Adonit Group wants to be synonymous with being able to bring experiences for individuals to continue their career in sports in a meaningful way.
Well, it's an incredible opportunity. And at the end, we'll make sure we get all the social handles and a place to go and process for it, because it's pretty exciting, and I people would be excited to deal and work with you, and any representative of you, I think, is just a phenomenal opportunity. So
yeah, thank you for that. We've had people that work for us in Las Vegas that are following us to New Orleans, and we have people that we met in Las Vegas that work for other firms that are now coming to work for us. So we feel so privileged. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we do try to create this camaraderie among the team so that they feel supported when they get to the event. And most importantly, they get the experience that they need and they have a lot of fun.
that's great. I want to change gears slightly and maybe just go broader back to the Adinek Group.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the services that you put on there, and I want to somewhat tie this topic to sports, of how do you see diversity recruiting, which is a service that you offer with Adinek Group? How do you see the sports world in diversity hiring? Is it a C or a D? Is it an A or a B? Just maybe tell us a little bit about what you do in diversity recruiting first, and how you see the sports world performing, good or bad.
Yeah, I started this journey in banking. I got hired to be a diversity recruiter. And I'm not really sure if I knew exactly what that meant at the time. But I did have a passion for bringing people on and giving them, equal opportunities, if you will, or opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have been privy to in the past. And also presenting talent to organizations or leaders that they may have not tapped in before because their networks are different. So in this stage and age, we're in a political, environment that's very interesting right now. Either you love D&I or some people hate D&I. I happen to embrace it and love it at its core, because all it is helping individuals that have differences from other groups of people to get recognized and to help them get opportunities that maybe they didn't have before, or they wouldn't have known about before. I will say, first and foremost, we are about finding the right person for the job. So irregardless of backgrounds or, racial identity, sexual orientation, any of that, we are about finding the right people for the job. And so typically how we go about that initially is through consulting. I talked about that. And so we really look at organizations. So specifically, I'll talk about our experience, since we're talking about sports, with Super Bowl experience. Since that's a passion of mine, around diversity recruiting has been such embedded in part of my history of work. And I know that there are pools of people, of talent, that are untapped. And to be quite honest about it, it's a little bit more of an employer's market right now, but a lot of times it's not. When in this employees market, we have to go and meet pools of talent where they are, because at some point in time, we're all competing for the same group of people. So you need to be innovative and broaden and cast a wider net to be able to find individuals. And I just have a total belief that just new perspectives can change and transform the dynamic of your organization. So what we do is we go and we talk to the individuals that we were supporting for the Super Bowl experience teammate position. And one of the untapped pools of talent are individuals with different varying abilities or disabilities, you will say. And I'm on a couple boards that really support and advocate. Best Buddies is one, and the American Association of People with Disabilities is another. Because that is a pool of talent that is totally untapped and, have been marginalized, and it's very difficult for them to find work just because of, various perceptions of what they can and can't do, and their limitations, which are most likely false in a lot of cases. So I'm like, hey, I have experience with this. This is an area that we want to go in recruit in. How do you feel about this? They're like, fine. I said, this is how we're going to support this. So an example is that we identified and hired someone to work Super Bowl experience that was hearing impaired. She was actually deaf. And so that really keeps us on our toes. It also, if you're not dabbling in that environment, or you're not supporting people with varying abilities, or, any, type of variation from the norm, you get very removed from it, and it's very hard to relate. And so we want to very much stay active and understand what the concerns and the issues are, so that we can continue to support and bring that to the forefront. So since she was deaf, there were things that we learned as well. We had her on, and we had to communicate via text. We also had WhatsApp group that we had to put in. We had closed captions. When she had training that was on site, I brought in a sign language interpreter. When she worked on site, we paired her with someone else that knew sign language, so that she can kind of understand what was going on. It wasn't imperative that she had that person with her glued to the hip, because once you're in the environment and you know what to do, you can just catch on and be left to your own devices. However, I did have a button made for her as well, and I got it approved through the organization. And I also made sure that the nomenclature was fine with her, and that it wasn't offensive, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Right. And the button said, I'm deaf, but I can read lips. How can I help? So the people that approached her, because when you see, a lot of, varying abilities are not visible. So when you approach her, if you're asking her questions and she can't understand, that button is very visible. So people can say, okay, she can read lips. Let me realize that. Let me take my time. Let me be a little bit more patient, or let me understand. And she had like the best experience. The organization also most likely will be using us to be able to ensure that they have the right accommodations at these events. And then we're also going to be hosting sessions and putting white papers on our sites to be able to help other organizations as they put on events to understand how to best accommodate people. So that's what diversity means to us. And when you said how are we doing in sports, I think any industry can do better. Any industry. I think we all have a lot to learn. But I think that there are a lot of efforts that are out there to ensure that people are doing the right thing, or that they're trying to bring on the right people, or that they're learning in the right way. So shameless plug, we can help any organization, with understanding what needs to be done. We're here to help. But I say that there's a lot. I think there's a movement in women's sports. Not I think, I know there is. But another program that I wanted to put on is kind of behind the ball, and I've had a lot of experience in college recruiting. So it's really about a program that's focused around women to be able to help them to understand the management of sports in real life environment. In a theoretical book environment, that's great. But there's a difference in when you get into a real life environment. I think there's a lot that can be done in bringing women into sports on the business side of things. The trends that I'm seeing now, which is the answer to one of your questions, you see a lot of females coming out of sports, or girls, women, females, and a lot of positions that they're looking to go into: social media, partnerships, sponsorships. I don't see a lot of females that are pursuing, I want to be a head coach. I want to get in data analytics, sports analytics, scouting. Some do want to be scouts. But what is the path, and what does that look like? Because there are not a lot of trailblazers for them to be able to look up to and say, how do I do this? So I think that there's tons of opportunity. I think that there are some programs that NFL has, some amazing programs that I've been able to benefit from, but from being, a Black female, trying to continue to build a brand in the sports world on the staffing side. I will give the NFL a lot of credit. They have some great programs that I've been able to benefit from. But I think things like that need to continue to build and be established for females, individuals with disabilities, and other backgrounds to be able to take advantage. We have still a lot of work to do. But the flip side of that, what that means is there's a ton of opportunity. So everybody should be super excited in this space about all of the opportunity, and really look for ways to embrace it. And we hope we can help.
You've got me so excited for this and what you do. And this is just a treat on my side to meet and network and, open my eyes on how some of this works with you. So, Kenida, where can people find these Super Bowl experience jobs? Where can they find you? A little extra shameless plug opportunity.
Yeah, so my website is theadinekgroup.com. So the position is posted there. So you can go there and apply. It's really easy. We're on pretty much every social media outlet. LinkedIn, we have a nice following. So the Adinek Group is a LinkedIn company page. So that's out there. You can find us there. I am personally also on LinkedIn, love LinkedIn. So I'm Kenida Lewis. You can look me up there. We are on TikTok. I think I was talking to you a little bit. I don't do as much on TikTok, but we do have a presence there. But you can follow us also on Instagram, and that's at the Adonit Group as well. We post a lot of positions there, updates, where we're going, what we're doing. We have some exciting things that I'm going to check into next week. I'll be traveling, so I hope I'll be able to give some really great news when I get back. But you can find out all about what we're doing on Instagram and LinkedIn primarily, and we'll try to get better on TikTok.
Oh, that's great. That's great. For anyone listening, I'm giving some friendly encouragement to Kenida to be a content creator on TikTok because I think she would kill it. So, well,
Yeah.
Kenida, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure, and you have a very exciting few months ahead of you with this Super Bowl experience and the Adinek Group generally. So, thank you very much.
I would like to say thank you as well. It's been a pleasure. And I know that, primarily your base will be looking at this, but I just encourage them to share everything that you're doing. I found you by finding your content to be very intriguing, very helpful, very timely. So this is not a shameless plug for you because this is your platform, but I hope that your
Well, thank you.
followers share this so other people can take advantage.
Well, pretty high profile gig and great place to start and with great people. So, Kenida, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.